Okay, so then everybody's on page 26, right? Perfect. Okay, so instead of using our colored pencils and markers, because from the vote yesterday you guys didn't like that, we're just going to make a key at the top, so you can write key, so that when you look back at your notes you can remember. We're going to say when you have one long one that's unshaded, do you guys want that to be positive or negative? Negative. Positive. I think you were outvoted, Layden, I'm sorry. Okay, so this would be a positive what? X. Okay, then when I have the long one and it's shaded, it would be a negative X. Okay, so then when I have a circle that's open, it would be a positive 1. And then when I have a circle that's shaded, it would be a negative 1. Okay, so that'll just kind of help you guys keep organized on what represents what. Okay, we are going to do 2 examples of drawing, and then we'll do the last example without drawing. So remember, we're going to draw our little squares over to the side to represent our drawing board. And then we're also over to the side going to write the actual algebra style. So kind of make it so that you have like your little boxes on one half of the paper, and then over to the side you're also going to have your algebra. Okay? So our first problem is going to be 8 plus 4D equals 5D. And then you can write that off to the side so that you have it ready for your algebra. And then you can draw it. So I have 8 positives over here, so I'm going to have 8 open circles. And then I'm going to have 4 rectangles. And on the other side, I'll have 5 rectangles. Okay, so we always want to get our like things on one side and then our other like things on the other side. So like you want your ones on one side and you want your x's on the other side. So do I have ones on this side and this side? No, so let's just leave our ones alone so that they're all over there. So what does that mean I need to get rid of? The x's, right? Or the d's, sorry. So what do I have to do to get rid of those positive 4d's? Add 4 negative d's. So make sure these ones are shaded. And what you do to one side, you always have to do to the other. So then what would we do? Get out your 0 pairs. So I'm going to circle my 0 pairs and then put a line through them so I know they're gone. You have to do that on both sides. Okay, so over here on our algebra style, we just added 4 negative d's, right? On both sides. So then I'm left with 8 on this side and 1d on this side, right? So we have d equals what? 8. Questions on that one? Okay. Your next one, you can go ahead and draw your little squares. And our problem is going to be 6n minus 1 is equal to 4n minus 5. you can draw them. Make sure yours looks like mine. Okay, so now do we have like X's on one side and the numbers on the other side? No, we don't, because we have both X's on both sides and we have numbers on both sides. So you can choose which one you want to move first, and you can choose which side you want to move it to. You should get the same answer as long as you do the math correctly. Okay, so what do you want to move? The what? The one? The negative one? Okay, so what would I do? Add one. Okay, so if I add one positive to this side, I have to add one positive to that side. Then get rid of your 0 pairs. So over here on my algebra style, I added one positive, right, to both sides. So I would get a 0 pair here, and I'd still have 6n though. And over here, I still have 4n, and then I have negative 5 plus 1, which is negative 4, which is what you have over here, 4 negatives. Okay, so now that I have all my numbers on one side, that means I have to get rid of those X's that are on that same side as the numbers. So how do you get rid of them? Add 4 negatives. I'm going to draw them above them. And they are negatives, so make sure they're shaded. So then I'm going to add 4 negatives over here. So then I get rid of my 0 pairs. So again, I added 4 negatives, X's to both sides, or N's in this case. This made a 0 pair, so I'm left with 4 negatives. And then on the other side, what do you have left? 2 positive X's, right? Or in this case, they're N's. So I need to split this up into 2 even groups. So how many would be in each group? So there's 1 group, there's 2 groups. So 1n equals what? Negative 2. Over here on the algebra side, I split it into 2 groups, which is the same as dividing by 2. So n equals negative 2, which is what we got. Okay, so it's important that you guys know 1n is the same as just n, right? Because you only have 1 n there, therefore that's the same as just n, because 1 times anything is just that. Questions on this part? Okay, so let's go ahead and just do the algebra then without the drawings. So if we have 3/5 x minus 15, we're going to set that equal to 6/5 x plus 12. So Riley, you can go on this side so that you have more room. If you guys need more room, we don't have anything on this side. You are going to need some room down here though. Okay, so if you don't have room, go on the other side because we're not writing on it. Okay? Alright, so what do you guys want to do first? Get rid of the ones. Okay, so what do you want to do with your ones?
Add 15.
You want to add 15 to the negative 15? Is everybody okay with that? Okay. So my negative 15 plus 15 would give me my 0 pair, right? So on this side, I would be left with, good. On this side, I would have 12 plus 15, which is 27. And then I also have my 6/5 x. So now what would I do? How do I get rid of the 6/5 x? Yep. Subtract 6/5 x. When we are adding and subtracting fractions, what's important to have? Like denominators or common denominators. Are my denominators the same in this? Yes. Okay, so then I can just subtract the numerators. So what's 3 minus 6? So I'd have negative 3 over 5x. This gave me a 0 pair, so on the other side I still have 27. Now what do I do? Okay, so some of you said we're going to divide by negative 3/5, and then some of you said we're going to flip it and multiply, right? So we keep 27. We change division to multiplication and make it 5 over 3. Where do I put the negative? It doesn't actually matter. As long as you have a negative somewhere, I put it on top so that I don't forget it. You can put it on the bottom, but you only need one negative sign. You won't put it with the 5 and the 3. Okay, so now I get 27. Can I reduce anywhere?
Yes.
Okay, so we're dividing it by 3, so this becomes a 9. This becomes a 1. When I multiply straight across now, I have 9 times negative 5, which is over 1. So my answer is negative 45. Again, when we're dividing with this fraction, you guys knew to divide because negative 3/5 and x are multiplied, so the opposite would be to divide. You can type that in your calculator, and you should get the exact same thing. Okay? Make sure, though, you don't mix the two together and say, I'm going to multiply by 3/5. You're not multiplying by 3/5, you're multiplying by 5 over 3 if you're going to multiply. Does that make sense? This part, I at least want you to show this part. So on this side, I would just write divide by negative 3/5 if I type in my calculator, yes. Questions? Comments, concerns? Okay. All right, so let's see.